Hello, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault, and today we're going to be going over all the different leaks about the Nvidia Geforce GTX 1660. And you're going, well, this is not something we were expecting. A lot of people were going, it's going to be the 10 series or the 20 series, and since we already got 20 series RTX cards, we've got GeForce cards coming out at the 16 series. Like, I mean, it is kind of halfway, but basically we're going to be going over all the specs. And now the reason why I'm making a notable, effort to, of course, talk about this is because part of the things we do on the channel is talk about a lot of leaks. And I usually try to preference leaks that I think are likely to come out, that are actually true. Because there's a lot of leaks out there that will be like, this is something completely outrageous. And, I even was skeptical to talk about the Ryzen leaks. And now as we get closer to when they're supposedly going to be actually announced all the specs, and we start seeing benchmarks and stuff, I'm kind of glad I did. So I'm going to take another risk here. And this has a lot of benchmarks too, and some actual pictures as well of actual cards in their boxes. So I'm going to take today's video to talk about this because I think it's something that's probably likely to actually come out and make sense too. So we're going to be talking about the 1160, and then there's an 1160 Ti variant. I do think there's a Founders Edition also, which is some of the leaks online are suggesting. So basically, GPU cores, we're talking about 1,280 CUDA cores, and honestly, I compared to has the same amount as the 1060, only it's running GDDR6 with a much higher bandwidth, acceptable and understandable, I guess. Actually, it's got the same bandwidth, same amount of memory. It's just the only difference really is between the 1060 and the 1660 is the memory and the memory speed. And then the 1660 Ti has, of course, 1,536 CUDA cores with a little bit more texture units. It's got a base clock, 1,500 gigahertz, similar to what we saw with the Pascal 1060, and a boost clock of 1770. And the memory speed is boosted up a bit as well to 288 gigabytes per second, still 6 gigabytes of memory. I would assume a slightly higher TDP and a slightly higher bandwidth. This is also suggested to come in right around maybe $280 to $350, similar to kind of where the 2080 is sitting, or the 2060 is sitting currently. And then looking at the GTX 1160, which I believe there's two kind of leaks out there that are suggesting different things. I personally think it's probably the Founders Edition, because since we saw in the RTX cards, the Founders Edition had slightly more cores, or RT cores had slightly more and faster speeds. I would be expecting this is what we're seeing as well. So the main differences really is just the amount of or the clock speed, and of the base clock speed and the boost clock speed, and that's pretty much the only difference. Maybe just one of these cards has the regular bandwidth of the 1160 as well, or memory bandwidth. So it'll be interesting to see when these cards come out if we're looking at something that's got a slightly better, like we saw in the RTX series, with the Founders Edition cards being slightly more, or having slightly more powerful hardware. Now, a lot of people have been asking the question, well, why is Nvidia doing this? Why are they releasing a card that has, in a market that's kind of oversaturated at the moment, and something that for an area they kind of already have under control? And if you think about it, Nvidia right now has all their high-end cards. They have a 2060, which is really the mid-range card, and then they've got these gamers that want to buy something, but a lot of people, as much as Nvidia doesn't like it, RTX has not caught on and most likely won't. And I think this is one of those cards that they're realizing is that, hey, this RTX cards have kind of been a really bad idea for us. And I think they're trying to compensate that with trying to release something that's, hey, at least we have a gaming card that's just a dedicated gaming card that doesn't have none of these RT cores on it, and you're just paying for that. And people, I think, don't want to pay for extra stuff they're not going to be able to use because there's no games that support it. Rather, they like to buy this. And this is what AMD kind of went for with their Radeon 7. And with the Navi that's supposed to come out, or leaked to come out, or supposedly supposed to come out, and that's, I think, what AMD is trying to do as well. And they think that if AMD does something where they offer similar spec performance, etc., at a much lower price, without these RT cores, without extra buying stuff, or without extra hardware you're paying for, people just want to buy stuff. They don't want to have the extra RT cores if they're not going to be supported, and so they just want to buy the hardware that they can use, and therefore I think they're kind of afraid that AMD is actually going to get a good advantage here. So I think this was a card that just came out so that they would have something out there that they could take I guess exploit that part of the market and make some sales off of that as well. But thank you very much for watching. I was originally planning on doing a full streaming setup tour, but for some reason the OBS didn't record everything that I was doing. But basically, I've got some really nice streaming stuff that I'm set up for some computer builds, which will hopefully be getting tested out a couple weeks from now. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you're interested maybe in that stuff, or maybe the setup of all that stuff that I've done, I've got some overhead mounted cameras and stuff, really cool, exciting stuff. Maybe consider subscribing, and maybe check out my channel for other cool tech-related news videos, reviews, builds, etc. Goodbye.